Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen nabiyyina Muhammadi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Amma ba'du, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to our daily fiqh hour. The last, obviously, that I will be giving from the blessed office that I have here at home. Inshallah, the plan is that tomorrow, as I said, I won't be able to make it. And then on Sunday, I will be traveling down to London. So I don't think I will be able to slot in the fiqh hour because there will be a new time. And then, inshallah, on Monday, which will be our next fiqh hour, it will be at our new time of 5 o'clock. And I don't know where it will be. It'll be in the Masjid somewhere. But again, it really depends on how things go. So this could potentially be the last one. I hope not. So just keep sticking to the socials and keep an eye on things, and then inshallah I will notify you accordingly. So the theme for today, which was given to us a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago rather, not a few weeks ago, because Ramadan only started a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks back, but because we had a backlog of themes already, this one had to go at the end of the queue. And this one is about free speech. We know it's like the big thing nowadays. Everybody seems to think that free speech is progression, progressiveness, and therefore, arguably speaking, anybody should be able to say what they want to say, when they say it, how they say it. Okay, well, that's the impression that's given. In reality, is free speech actually free speech? Because free speech, by its definition, means that you can say what you want, when you want, how you want, to whoever you want. That's really the definition of free speech. But there are many caveats associated with that free speech. The main one being that you can only speak what is legal to speak, and anything which the state has made illegal, then you cannot speak about that. So, in reality, free speech isn't really free speech because the state makes the laws. The laws then determine what you can and can't say. And therefore, if you say something which you're not allowed to say, like, for example, if a group is considered to be prescribed as a terrorist group, you can't join that group. You can't speak the virtues of that group. Similarly, if marches are considered to be threatening, or marches are considered to be violating the rights of others, then they will be considered as hate marches, which removes that free speech again. And therefore, and also there are certain things you just cannot speak about because it will go against what is considered now in this broad definition of British values. So in reality, free speech is a misnomer. It's a mirage. It's something which is being sold to people that this is the best way to live. Our way of living is the best way to live. Why? And why is our way of living the best way to live? Is because we give you free speech. We allow you to say what you want to say. We allow you to criticize what you want to criticize. We allow you to do those sorts of things. Okay. However, in reality, that's not the case. As we've mentioned, there are certain things you cannot say. It is illegal to say. And if you were to say it, you would get arrested for it. Okay. And most likely do time for it. So, so that clearly shows there is limits to what is considered as free speech. Even when it comes to hate speech, some things are considered as hate speech and some things aren't considered as hate speech. So therefore, that definition means it has to be kind of fought out in the law courts. So if we now look at from an Islamic perspective, what does the whole concept of free speech mean? Then it's no different to how anyone, because in a thriving society in which it is a multicultural society, a multi-religious society, and a multinational society, we know that you cannot say things which can offend others. For example, you cannot say things which are racist. Simple as that. Okay, and Islam doesn't allow you to do that. Islam doesn't allow you to pick faults with people, to offend people, because this comes under slander. Okay, so for example, when the Prophet ﷺ was discussing this point of ghiba and slander, he gave us the definition that slander is something you say about something which is not true, and ghiba is when you say something about someone which is true. So that is, but you do it in his behind his back and not in his presence. That's the difference there. So slander is when you make something up. Hate speech is similar to trying to pick the fault in somebody based upon their characteristics. The only thing which is permitted, okay, is that to have an issue with the actions of a person. So one can make statements about the actions of people, about the certain things that they do, and kind of have a go at that. But really, free speech, you're not permitted to hurt people, offend people. We even know in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, in the very early stages of Islam, that the Muslims were forbidden for saying anything against the idols. Okay. Again, because of reciprocity, because then people would say the same against Allah, but also because one shouldn't be offensive for the sake of being offensive. It was only the only time where it was permitted, where, for example, Hassan was given the permission, which was in the time of war, when war of words, where poetry was put together against the mushrikun, because they were putting poetry against the Prophet ﷺ. So therefore, in response to that, it was permitted. So you can see the first thing that we it's a relatively simple topic, so I'm going to kind of round it up now. So we can see, for instance, that the whole concept of free speech is actually a misnomer. It's a mirage. It's a missell. Reason why it's there is so that people feel that this is the best way to live, because if you lived under an autocratic society, an autocracy, meaning like you have an authority, which is sometimes the way it's given about if you're living under religious law, then basically you will not be able to do anything, and your rights will be taken away from you, and you won't be able to say anything, and everything you say, this will happen to you, that will happen to you. So the fear of having a religious system where there's a system based on law. We found, for example, when the Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab went to, say, Al-Quds, Jerusalem, he makes it quite clear to the Christians, and also in Medina with the Jews, that you will judge according to your laws. We're not even going to interfere with your laws. You decide, a Jew commits a sin, then you decide amongst yourselves. You don't need to bring that to us. We don't care. Meaning that there is that level of independence from the system, from the state, that you that yourself. Again, with the Christians in Al-Quds, he said the same thing again, that you judge amongst yourselves, you decide your matters amongst yourselves. We don't need to be brought into it. If you bring us in as arbitrators, or you bring in to arbitrate between a particular matter, then obviously we will judge according to the Sharia. Otherwise, feel free to do that. So there's clarity there of having this system where there's independence, where people can judge according to their own systems. And obviously, when we talk about developed governments like we have now in the modern world, then there are going to be certain laws which are non-religious, for instance, which would require abiding by, like traffic lights, for example, or where we park, or planning permission, things like that, which you need now in the developed world that we live in. Islam, obviously, in that sense, permits people to speak their mind. It does not censor them to speak their mind. They're allowed to say what they wish to say. We saw so many statements being made in the time of the companions, and even after that, between groups, which they were free to say. Obviously, when it comes to offending people, then that's something we should avoid. When it comes to slanderous comments, then that's something we should avoid. And obviously, when it comes to riba, that is something that we should avoid. So that there is those restrictions when it comes to speech. And it is mentioned as well, from our understanding of hadith, that speech is more painful than physical abuse. Meaning, if you say something against someone, that's going to hurt a person far more than if you go up to one and sort of punch him in the face, because the sharpness of the tongue, its lashes, hurt a lot more, and we do that, don't we? Unfortunately, amongst loved ones, we'll say things that will hurt us more than we do when we do something physically. Okay, so I'll allow any questions on free speech before I start to pick any questions up on other matters. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Please keep us in your du'as during itikaf. I have interview for apprenticeship coming up as well as A levels. Inshallah, we'll do so. Inshallah. Yes, inshallah, we will continue. Hopefully, Hamza. As I said, the plan is that tomorrow, obviously, there won't be a FiqHour, but there are, obviously, you're seeing lots of other videos going out on our channels. Similarly, there won't be a FiqHour on Sunday because that's when I'm traveling. But inshallah, all being well, there will be one on Monday. But there's a full detailed breakdown for the i'tikaf. So I will be delivering a lecture after Fajr. After Fajr, it will be contemporary tafsir. So it will be taking our understandings from the Quran and applying them in our day-to-day lives. And the second thing is after Asr, there will be a contemporary topic, and they've been putting together a long list, mashallah. They've been putting together a long list of contemporary topics, quite interesting ones as well. So we're going to go through them, inshallah, over the 9-10 days. So stick to the channels so that you get access to that as well, inshallah, and also on the WhatsApps, whatever. Alhamdulillah, benefit. Excellent. That's good to hear. Please do share Hamza with others, friends and family, so that they benefit as well. Question regarding zakat. Someone approached my mum and said their nephew is very sick and about to undergo an operation in Pakistan. They're also quite poor and don't have much money. So my mum sent money to this individual in Pakistan with the intention of giving zakat to help them with their operation. After this point, someone has said to mum, how do you know they were eligible for zakat? You don't know how much wealth or gold they might have. Is my mum's zakat accepted? It's accepted because you put accepted. So that's ACCEPTED. So is my mum's zakat accepted, or should she have gone out of her way to contact the individual and ask what they possess in terms of gold, cash, and other assets? This seems counterproductive because at what ends should we be satisfied when determining someone applicable for zakat? Well, Haris, the thing is that nothing's been done here. You're suggesting there, to what ends? Well, there's been no end here at all. There's been no due diligence carried out whatsoever. Of course, before one gives zakat, we have to do due diligence. We do that for Salah. So if I was praying my Salah, I don't just pray and think, oh, I think I've got wudu. I think my clothes are clean. I think it's Asr time. I think I'm facing the Qibla. I think the carpet is clean. It's all good. Assalamu alaikum, Allahu Akbar. No, of course not. I got to remember, yep, I've got wudu. Yeah, I made it earlier. That's fine. Clothes are clean. Yep, I've just put new pair on. Alhamdulillah. I'm in the masjid, so that's all good. It's Asr time because before I walked, of course. So this is zakat. This is not, you're not just making a donation. This is an act of worship. So like we have, like to look at the ends we go through for ihram. When we're putting ihram on, we've got to make sure we don't use soap. We've got to make sure we don't scratch our beard. We've got to make sure we don't cover our head. We've got so many rules and regulations when it comes to ihram for itikaf, ihram for hajj, or ihram. And then we've got to make sure, I've got to do my rami first. What can I do on day 12? I can't do that. I've got to do pelt this jamarat. Then I've got to pelt that jamarat. This is the way I'm going to do my tawaf. This is the way I'm going to do my sa'i. No, I'm going to start from Marwa. Why do I have to start from Safa for? Why? Subhanallah, every aspect of Hajj has to be followed to the letter. Every aspect of Umrah has to be followed to the letter. Every aspect of Salah has to be followed to the letter. Every aspect of fasting has to be followed to the letter. Zakat is no different. Zakat is one of the 5. Okay, has to be to the letter. So before one gives their zakat, they have to determine. Okay. Now, if they feel uncomfortable asking those questions, then that's probably not the best person to give their zakat to. That's why if we have good charities, then what good charities are supposed to be doing, those that have a Sharia sort of auditing, that they make sure that the charity is carrying out this due diligence before they give their money to that person. So the charities that I do this for, I make sure that their process has that in there, whereby a due diligence is conducted before zakat is handed over to that person. That means includes getting bank statements. That includes that person making a declaration, includes everything, and then that's given. So we shouldn't just kind of, just sort of say, somebody says, oh, I'm poor. What does that word poor mean? Here's so many people nowadays say they're poor and they're claiming benefits. Are they poor? So, they'll have a stash of cash hidden on the floorboards, but they'll say to the state that they're poor. So we have to do this carefully. This is not something that should be done nonchalantly and slapdash. This is something that is part of our deen. So we have to do that. Absolutely. So it's not counterproductive. It's not at all. It's important that we do the due diligence. Assalamu alaikum. Will a seizure break one's fast? Not really, because there's nothing happening to the person in the sense of consuming nourishment or food via cavities of consequence. So therefore, they shouldn't be. Unless, obviously, in this particular state that a person breaks their fast, then yes. But the act of a seizure, that shouldn't, I know it's not exactly the same, but the nearest example we can give is somebody has a nap. If somebody has a nap, their fast doesn't break, does it? I know it's not exactly the same thing. I get that. Or if somebody faints or collapses, their fast doesn't break. I know they're different, but the nearest tashbih I can give you, the nearest example that I can give you. So why do we stop with bank statements? Why can't we go further and ask them what they might be storing under their mattress? At what point do we stop? At the point that you're going, because now you're going to ridiculous, you're going crazy now. Just exactly to what I said is so there is a method, you see. That's why the ulama, we go to the ulama hadith, and the ulama tell us what is considered appropriate. That is what is considered appropriate when it comes to how can you now go to somebody and start going through their house. You can't go. So you have to take that statement. Where you can gather evidence, you gather evidence. Where you cannot gather evidence, you have to go by statement. So this is how the law works. The law works where there's evidence, you can submit evidence. Where there's no evidence, so it's like, for example, in the courts we have here. So in the UK courts, either there will be evidence that they can submit, and if they can't submit evidence, they will take witness statements. Okay, so in this case, we're taking a witness statement from that person. So obviously, if we can see over a 3-4 month period that this person is not taking out large sums of money from his bank account, and he has no source of income, then obviously this person, so most of the people, for example, in the UK that receive zakat are usually refugees or asylum seekers. So we know exactly what asylum seekers get. We know exactly what refugees get, and that goes straight into their bank account. It goes straight into onto their card. So when it goes straight onto their card, you can see exactly what they're getting and exactly what they're spending. So the fact that suddenly somehow they're going to pull out another 10 grand from one of the mattress is just not going to work. There will obviously be people who will try to bend the system. That's always the case. You can't stop that. But at least on the Yawm al-Qiyamah, when you stand in front of Allah, you can say, I have done my due diligence to the best of my ability. No one can start sort of literally saying, okay, we're going to go through your whole house, whatever. So for example, again, some of the UK charities that I work with, they give out several million in zakat now, and they give that out to tens of thousands of people. Now you work that out, 365 days in a year. How are you going to do that for every single person? So you have to have a system. So you ask the ulama will tell you the system. So the system that you have for this brother or sister, whoever it is in Pakistan, you will obviously have to assess whether this person is considered as a poor person. How are you do that? Apart from that person telling you themselves as to how much they have, or people around that person. So there's many people, for example, who say that they're poor in Pakistan, say, or Bangladesh or India, but they've got land, and they've got large sums of land, which they don't sell because they feel it's against the honor of the family to sell land. But putting that pride to one side, it's an asset. Similarly, gold. A lot of women, not a lot, but women in Pakistan will have gold, but they won't consider that as an asset. They will say, no, that's a family heirloom. That's not an asset. But in the Sharia, that's considered as an asset. So once she receives zakat, so your zakat doesn't get done. So obviously, it's a problem then, isn't it? So that needs to be done beforehand. Hope that makes sense. For the last 3 years, an organization has been asking for 50k for carpets in the masjid. For the last 3+ years, an organization has been, it keeps jumping, easy, let's just slow it down. For the last 3+ years, an organization has been asking for 50k for carpets in the masjid, and also at times to renovate different parts of the masjid. It had already been confirmed they raised over $1 million last year. It's gone up again. Where's it gone? Confirmed they raised over $1 million last year for the carpets, as well as other costs associated to them. Okay, it's gone again. To the masjid. Again, people were donating under the assumption this money would be going to the masjid. Oh, it's gone again. Oh, over the last few days, this organization has come forward to say they've purchased a building, potentially worth a few million, and will use this building as a means of waqf. They're still running ads asking for 50,000 for carpets, as well as renovating the masjid, despite raising the funds over a year ago. Is this permissible, or is this deception and therefore impermissible, as they're clearly not told the public they had the relevant funds and continue to collect to purchase a waqf building, advertising as funds for car? Yeah, they should have been clear. Okay, they should have been clear that, if they are asking for funds for the carpets and for the renovation, then that's what they should have spent the money on. Okay, so they should have been clear. And they've not been clear, obviously, because from what you're saying, that they raised a significant amount of money, and what they've done now is they've now bought a building, and they're using that building as a waqf, which obviously will generate money to bring in, but they didn't disclose that to the members of the public to tell the members of the public that we need money in order to buy a building, which would bring the funds in. So they should have been clear, absolutely, 100%. And they should not have been kind of now we have to make an assumption. Okay, were they intentionally deceptive? Okay, or did they just have that add up and they've just left it? Many people will put something up and just leave it there and completely forget about it. So they might use Launch Good, they might use GoFundMe, they might use like several different platforms for collecting money. They might use Facebook ads. They might use, whatever, Google ads. There's so many different ways now to raise funds, but they've never just gone back to fix that. Okay, so that's the first thing we need to ask, whether they've intentionally been deceptive. We cannot assume that. The second thing is, so the first point is, obviously, this shouldn't be done in this manner. That's the first thing. Secondly, we need to now explore why that happened, which is what I've just said. The third point is that when there is a masjid committee, okay, then the masjid community give authority to the masjid committee to run the masjid. Okay, so let's understand how that works. The community selects a committee. That committee runs the masjid. Okay, so their mandate is, the masjid committee's mandate is to run the masjid how they see fit. Okay, obviously using halal methods, but they run the masjid they are then supposed to be held accountable by the committee, by the community rather, by having AGMs and all the rest of it, like any registered charity or non-profit organization or whatever else you want to call it is doing. They're supposed to do that. Okay, if they're registered with Charity Commission, then obviously all that data is being disclosed to the Charity Commission. So they're supposed to have that on an annual basis to tell the people that, okay, we raised £50,000. We used £7,000 for this. We used £8,000 for that. We used £10,000. So that should be declared regularly at AGMs. Okay. So therefore, the masjid committee does have a little bit of a free hand in ensuring the masjid runs. That's their responsibility. So that's the third point. However, going back to the first point, there should have been clarity. If obviously this has been done intentionally, there should have been clarity that that money for 50,000 for the carpets has been raised. We're now raising for the waqf masjid, whatever. I guess it would be problematic if they were funding themselves, pocketing the money themselves, but they've not pocketed the money. What they've done is they've used it. Now they might argue that, oh, Mufti Sahib, if we had put, we're going to buy another building, nobody would have given us any money. So therefore, we said, oh, we need it for the masjid renovation and we need it for the masjid carpets. In that way, we collected enough for the masjid carpets and for the masjid renovation, but we just carried on collecting. And all we've done is with that money, we've bought this building, which is part of the masjids, and it will now generate money. So in the future, if our brothers and sisters, maybe not a good idea, Haris. I might be familiar, maybe privately. I don't know if you got my details. nothing on public forums. It's not appropriate. It's the general mas'ala I've explained anyway. I've explained the general mas'ala, so there's other people who can benefit from it as well. So that's the short and that's the long and short of it. But really, masjids should be transparent, because they are public organizations. They are supported by members of the public. They are supported by the community. So they should be transparent. Okay, we're going to do a bit of husn dhan here and assume that they just, it was an administrative problem in which they did not update their FundMe pages or their fundraising pages. Allahu A'lam. Okay. But yes, interesting point, Haris. Any others, please post away. I'm just going to jump onto the Telegram to see if anything's come across there. Assalamu alaikum. During Istinja, if the skin area inside the back passage gets exposed and there's a cut inside the back passage which is bleeding, and the cut is washed over and then with the tissue before the exposed area which is bleeding goes back inside, is this still valid? During Istinja, if the skin area inside the back passage gets exposed and there's a cut inside the back passage which is bleeding and the cut is washed over and then dried before it is going. Yes, I don't know how this would happen unless somebody has piles or something, hemorrhoids. That's only a possibility of happening. But as long as it's been dried, which it has, so that there should be no problem there. Using a hot water bottle where the heat can be felt directly on the skin, is it okay to stay fine? Yes, it's fine. That's absolutely fine. Is the breaking of a fast during menses from a hadith? I cannot recall. I cannot recall if it is. Assalamu alaikum. If one makes a mistake during wudu or salah, do they correct it and carry on or start again? It depends on the type of mistake. Obviously, if it is a fard mistake, then there's no way of correcting it. Well, in wudu, you just go back and wash that particular place. So if you forgot to wash your face, then all you do is you think, oh, hold on, I'm washing my feet, but I don't remember washing my face. So you go back and you wash your face. It's done. So with wudu, it's not that much of a problem. When it comes to salah, then it can be a problem, because if you've omitted a fard in salah, then there's no way of repairing it. But if you've omitted a wajib, or you've conducted a wajib error, then obviously you can do sajda sah. If it is a sunnah mustahab, then there's no problem if it was done unintentionally, forgetfully. Obviously, if one is intentionally missing sunnah and mustahab, then it's sunnah especially, it's problematic, because that's the way the Prophet ﷺ prayed, and that's the best way to pray. So why would somebody abandon the prayer of the Prophet ﷺ? Okay, that's okay. The gents. Let's have a look here. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. My question is about a Musafir. As soon as you are out of your town, are you a Musafir, even though you haven't traveled 80 kilometers? If a Musafir still chooses to fast, is it okay? Yes. As soon as you have to have niyyah for traveling. I say 55 miles. I don't know what that is in kilometers. So you need to convert 55 miles to kilometers. I don't know what that is in kilometers. I know you Europeans like your metric measurements, but we're old school here in the UK, and we Brexited, so therefore we can carry on saying miles. So just translate miles to kilometers. Yes, if you are intending to travel 55 miles, and when you get into your outskirts of your city, then you are a Musafir. Absolutely. If a Musafir, I remember you have to be a Musafir at the time of Suhoor ending and Fajr time starting. And therefore, if you're traveling at that time and you choose to fast, then yes, it's absolutely fine. You have a choice. You can choose either to fast or choose not to fast. That choice is yours. Okay, I'll give you a few more minutes. And whilst we're waiting for those few more minutes, I'm not going to share a theme with you because of the fact that, as I said, tomorrow you will excuse me tomorrow, inshallah, from the FiqHour, and you will excuse me on Sunday as well for the FiqHour. So what you can do in the meantime is you are on our Markaz al-Ifta wal Qada Dar al-Ifta groups. So please put some themes on there. We've got whatever Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, potentially Wednesday. So you got another 10 days worth of themes. Let's go with 9 just in case. There's only 9 days of Ramadan, and then on the last day we can just have a party, can't we? So 9 days. So 9 themes potentially that you can put on the group. So please feel free to put on the group and flesh those themes out rather than just one sentence that doesn't really mean anything. Add a few points to them, and then at least I can deliberate over them. Over 88, brilliant. So then I can deliberate over them over Saturday, Sunday, inshallah, and then Monday when we do have our next FiqHour, I can have a theme ready. So okay, so please do. We had quite a number of suggestions from the sisters. Alhamdulillah, excellent. And we've had plenty of suggestions from the chaps. So we've got some nice themes. It's because of your suggestions for themes. We've touched upon very topical, contemporary issues, which many people are talking about and want answers to, or at least want a discussion around it from the perspective of Islam. So please do. There might be some topics that we've not touched yet, which are important because, like I said, after Ramadan, I'm going to need a little bit time out, and then we're going to kind of get back to it, inshallah. So therefore, let's get as many of these out as possible. Similarly, like I said, even though I'm planning to last 10 days to be doing the FiqHour, I cannot guarantee it because my timetable will be in the hands of others, and therefore it is a little bit more challenging, inshallah. If the travel finishes before iftar, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's when it's at the time of suhoor, you are a musafir. Okay, so because the fast only becomes fard upon you when the suhoor time ends and fajr time starts. At that point, it becomes fard upon you. Okay, so when it is becoming fard upon you, then you have to see whether you're a musafira, whether you're marida, you're ill. That's the time when you're looking at your illnesses or whatever. So that's the time to do it, inshallah. And then a person is excused. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yeah, so inshallah, last minute or two, if there's any questions. Iman, you've just jumped on. If not, then inshallah, jazakumullah khairan. So make dua whilst I travel and in your absence, and think of some questions in the meantime. Think of some themes as well in the meantime. Share them with us on those groups. And inshallah ta'ala, share the videos that we've done so far. Share the channels as well, so that at least other people can benefit from them. I know, alhamdulillah, I've been getting a lot of feedback. Allah bless you all, both on social media and in the real world. We forget there's a world out there. So when I'm meeting people in the masjid, or even people literally, just before Ramadan, I met somebody at the gym who was telling me about the FiqHour, and people randomly on that they're benefiting greatly from them. So mashallah, Allah accept, taqabbalallahu wa minna wa minkum. Therefore, it's a very useful exercise, very beneficial for folks. So you can also get some ajr in that as well by sharing those out with others, so others benefit. Don't be shy. If you've not been working as hard the first 17, 18, 19 days, then work extra hard in the last 13 days or whatever it is. Ramadan is on its way out. Now you need to maximize your reward before it disappears, and then it's another year you're waiting. Okay. Oh, just when I was about to go, sister asked the question. For Kaffara, a person has to feed 60 people if he cannot fast 60 days. If we pay £4 for a day, it is not enough for a day's food. Yeah, there's two different things there, sister. One option is to give a half a sa of wheat, or to feed 2 meals a day. So it depends which you decide. If you decide 2 meals a day, then you have to provide for 2 meals a day. But that's actual food. You would give 2 meals a day. And if obviously you cannot give the food, then you give the price equivalent. This £4 a day, this is based on half a sa, because half a sa is also an option. Okay. I think that is it. I did say that last time, and then just as I was about to press the buttons, another question appeared. Can one pay the money abroad? Yes, one can do so. Yes, one can do so. It's better to do local, obviously, because you want people to benefit locally. There is a thing about keeping the money within the community, keeping the money within the society. That's why zakat is taken from the rich of a society and given to the poor of that same society, rather than money being transferred out of that particular community, that society. So it's preferable. I'm sure. I know you're based in the Netherlands. I'm sure wherever you are, there's poor people as well. So you can get in touch with a local soup kitchen, something like that, and pay for those meals. So there is options rather than sending abroad. You can do, but like I said, it's preferred if you look locally, because there's people on your street, well, not literally on your street, but in your city, in your neighborhood, that are short of food. What will be the point in sending it to a community, all the way over there, when you've got people literally on your own doorstep that are short of food? Okay, I think I can now switch things down. Excellent. So, Jazakumullah khairan, everybody. Inshallah, all being well, I shall be with you in a couple of days' time, Monday, for the next FiqHour, which will be at 5 p.m. Make note of the new time. I know it's a bit early, but it's going to be impossible after 5 p.m. because Asr, I think, is 6:15 in the Masjid. So I will need to be downstairs in the Masjid at, say, 6 o'clock. And then there is no chance I will make it out of that Masjid until after Iftar, which will be whatever, 8:30, 8:45. And then it's quickly get ready for Taraweeh. And then I think the Taraweeh start 9, 9:15, whatever it is. And then I won't be finishing till nearly 11 o'clock. So that's the only time I can give. So I know for some 5 o'clock you might be working, but just make an exception for these last 10 days or so. If not, it will be recorded so you can watch it afterwards, inshallah. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.